Good evening. Welcome to this very special show. Welcome to Open Mic or Open Boy. And we're celebrating our first anniversary. As promised last week, this is the second part of our celebration. My name is Boy Abunda. I'm your host for tonight's show. And my very special guest, Mike Lopez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Boy.
Of course. It took so many editorial meetings for us to decide if we wanted to guest you on your show. I'm so proud.
Glad you agreed.
I know. But it's a wonderful contract. I'd like to acknowledge our friends who are here, but thank you for being here. And Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
Time flies, di ba? Ang bilis?
I'm nervous, actually.
Ang bilis. You've done a lot of interviews, and how has it been so far? Your learnings, your musings. You have the floor.
It's been quite the journey because I've had a president. I've had actually royalty. The president, the former first daughter, a king and a queen. King of talk and queen of feng shui.
Yeah, Marites Alas.
President Ramos was here. Senator Grace Po, she was the front runner then. We started with her. So, and then we've had artists and youth leaders. So it's really a good mix of different people, different backgrounds. We had a Guinness World Record holder.
Wow.
And last week 2 weeks ago, we had a Michelin star chef. So it's different people, and I've learned a lot from my guests. And that's something I learned from you, that you learn in your conversations with your guests, you learn so much from them. So it's been tough because here, of course, the cameraman, they do a lot of the work and of course the editing. But aside from that, I do everything else. I don't really write the episode because it's conversational. But I'm my own booker because basically all of the guests we've had so far, I've booked them. So I'm like an editorial producer, like in CNN, that's what they call a booker. So the other side of things, the off-cam, I also get to do. So that's also quite, it's been quite educational.
Okay, very impressive lineup of guests, diverse people with very different opinions about life and politics and government. What is the one commonality among them when you talk to people? What are you seeing? What are you discovering?
Everyone has a story to tell. That, sometimes we think that the world revolves around us, that our issues, our dramas, that those are the only things that matter. But when you talk to different people, you see how much they impact other people's lives, their family, society, and that it's a team effort. Everything is a team effort. How we move forward as a country and as a world, it's all a team effort, and we all pitch in. So, and everyone has that story, to tell. That's part of this bigger story that we call the life of the world.
Okay, as you say, you book your guests. You're very involved. You're hands-on. Do you have to like a person, in your view, to do a conversation with him on Open Mic?
That's interesting because I had Carlos Celdran here. Yes,
but it can be interesting. It can be fun. How was it? How was that conversation?
It was very.
Which is to say, you don't like Carlos?
I do not.
Okay. So when you were inviting him, no, but that's really interesting. So when you invited Carlos, did you actually? What did you say? Okay. What did you do? How did you book him?
It was Jaja Chongbian Rama, whom you know, no? Jaja messaged me and he said, "Do you want to have Carlos Celdran on the show?" And because we're bringing Live in La Vida Imelda here. I think it was more of the Imelda thing because I'm related to the former First Lady, more of that.
Right.
No? And I said, we don't really share the same politics. In fact, I completely disagree with him on that Damaso stunt and on many of his postings on social media. But I'm sure a lot of people have the same feeling toward me, about my musings on social media. So I don't want them to be prejudiced against me. If example, I was prejudiced toward Carlos. So I said, okay, what the heck? I think it should be fun, but we'll focus on the show, on the topic, and I think I'm professional enough.
So how is it?
See, Carlos would talk up. He would try to insert Mar Rojas into the conversation, and I would like. So live in La Vida Imelda. So let's just talk about the things that I just didn't want. Of course, it's nice to disagree, to agree to disagree on certain things, and it would have been an interesting discourse. Just that. The purpose of the show was to talk about Live in La Vida Imelda, and I felt that if I allowed him to dictate the course of the discussion into a more political, far from the live in La Vida Imelda, then we would actually end up fighting because it was at the height of elections. And yeah, but
so how did he feel that when every time he'd talk about Mar Rojas, you would interject? I mean, you would actually, would you cut him? Would you actually?
I would just nod, and I wouldn't. I would let him.
There's a technique there,
Yeah,
right?
I would let him say his piece. Like for him, Mar is.
And then bring it back
to the topic. I would not disagree because if I disagree, then you know that that clash, the conflict, would escalate, no? And then it would bring forth a debate. So I would just.
That is being very respectful. And that's very Pinoy because we are expected to respect people we invite into our homes.
Exactly.
Diba?
I didn't want to disrespect him. But Secretary de Lima also.
Ay, how nice.
Yeah, I had Secretary de Lima here, and of course we debated on the merits of the arrest and continued detention at the time of President Arroyo, and we disagreed, and it was cathartic for me. But I also paid tribute to her for coming to the show, despite knowing that I am I've been very open about my position against the Aquino government, or most of the political. For me, what I saw was political persecution against the former president. And so I paid tribute to her, and she said, "Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here."
What have you become because of this show?
I think I've become less talkative. Whether you disagree or not. No. Honestly.
Like you, we can be quiet. But I believe you. Yeah.
I've become less talkative.
Have you become more open? Have you become more open in terms of the diversity of attitudes, opinions? Have you become more accepting that people may think differently from you?
I don't know if it's because of the show or because of age, but yeah,
or both.
Maybe both. But on social media, I'm very active on social media. No? But what people who know me well enough, I think can attest that if I see conflicting opinion elsewhere, I leave it alone. I don't barge into someone's timeline and start a debate just for the sake of debate. No, I don't do that. If you come to my timeline and debate and disagree with me, then I will engage if I feel like it. So I think in that sense, I don't like to impose my views. So I would freely talk about my views, but don't tell me what or how to think. So it's been a while since I've been like that. Although it was never clear because I'm very opinionated. But I'd always like to make it a point that my opinion is my opinion. I never impose it.
Right. And Mike, you and I, we would talk about so many things. And you and I also would realize that as we go on this journey, we realize that we have our own contradictions.
True.
With this show and with age. Kasi ako, it took a while. Now I am, I think, more comfortable with my own contradictions. I have so many contradictions. Have you?
Do I have contradictions?
Yeah. Are you now more comfortable with your own, whatever they are? I mean, personal or otherwise, with your contradictions?
I've been living with those contradictions for a long time, and you know this. Mm-hmm. I'm openly gay, and you know how much I love to love, but at the same time,
I know that
too well.
Okay.
But at the same time, I love my faith so much. So this is a contradiction that some people do not understand.
Can I tell you something? Just some hours ago, I don't know if anybody here was in St. Teresa's. I mentioned your name because I was asked about the same thing, about my being LGBT and about my being a Marian devotee. And I'm not on social media, but I know I'm being bashed sometimes because of my scapular, because I go to Manawag, I go to Baclaran, and I have my personal relationship with my God. I mean,
Creator.
So kanina when I was asked in St. Teresa's, I mentioned your name, that I am in the same predicament, that I will fight for certain things that I strongly believe in, pero natatakot ako awayin ang simbahan ko. Natatakot ako awayin ang mga kinagisnan kong bagay-bagay. I'm still trying to contend with it. We talked about it.
Yes, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Because like for me, in my case, I respect the opinion and I respect the passions of the LGBT community when they fight for it. I respect it, and those who are able to avail of it in the United States, they get married, kudos to them. But for me, I was interviewed by a Thai TV show January of 2015, no? January 13, I remember, 2015, a Tuesday. And I was interviewed exactly about being gay and being Catholic in the Philippines. And I said, you know, at the end of the day, I am Catholic. Before I fell in love, I was already baptized. And my faith is more important. Why? Because being gay is something physical. Attraction is physical. It can be emotional and spiritual too, yes. But when you pass, when you die, you cease to exist, no, in the physical sense. And the physical attraction and the emotion that comes with it also goes away. Because when we die, I subscribe to the belief that when we die, we just we go to a different place, no?
Right.
And it's God that's the center of it all. So, what am I saying? Being gay is physical. Faith is spiritual, and spiritual is eternal. So between the two, what will I choose? If I have to choose, I have to choose my faith, because that is everlasting. No? So this one is in the here and the now, and I'd like to enjoy it, but I will not even attempt to offend my faith if that's what my faith requires. Okay. And I will not question. Blind faith.
In a sense, I am now at a stage in my life when I'm able to connect and to reconcile my faith and my sexuality. I used to be so conflicted about the same thing, about my being gay and about my devotion. But of course, this is not something that I have solved in totality, absolutely. But
you don't have to, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm more at peace now in terms of my sexuality and my devotion. For example, to I just came from Manawag. I go to Baclaran regularly. I have very good relationship with some of. I don't do anything without my priests and Marites Allen. It's my life. What do I want to say? What do I want to say? You love someone, Mike, and there is same-sex marriage in this country. Would you get married?
No.
Talaga? No. Why?
It's
the hypothesis is there is actually same-sex marriage. Okay, you wouldn't still get married. Why?
Without batting an eyelash.
Talaga?
My love for that person will never amount to the same love I have for my faith, which is just an extension of the love I have for God. No, so it's something that he will have to understand.
And if he doesn't, he can go.
Yeah, that's a non-negotiable for me. It's the most. My faith is the most. It's the most important thing I own.
Right. When somebody says, there's so many stereotypes about being gay. Gays are supposed to be cowards. Homosexuality is a disease. It's supposed to be a curse. And homosexuality is supposed to be an aberration. Funny, to this very day, some people still think that homosexuality is a disease. Given these misconceptions, what do you want to say?
I don't care.
You don't?
If it's eventually seen as a disease, I don't give a
No, but I just want to let people know, for example, that in 1973, it has been stricken out from the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders by the World Health Organization.
Yeah, but even if it were, I wouldn't care. I'm a high-functioning, high IQ ADHD. So, okay. No, so I don't care if I had another, if it was a disorder. But of course, I don't think it is. But if it were, I don't really care. I'm very comfortable with myself. Gavin and I had a very long conversation early this morning from drinking, and then we had Korean. And then I was saying, if you think about it, gays, we go against what is perceived to be, societal norms, familial, there's family pressure, there's peer pressure. At the end of the day, we're made of sterner stuff. There's just so much we have to face. It's the love that can't be named, love that that you can't even dare. Can you imagine that there's just so much objection, barriers surrounding you, and then so much pressure, and you're still able to live life and smile and contribute to society. We're made of sterner stuff. We're stronger than most people.
when was the last time you cried? And if you don't care, and if you don't care about all the things that I said, what do you care the most? And you know, it's interesting, Mike, because you're very tough. You're very tough. And when was the last time you cried? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know, but before you answer me, we'll take a short break. Okay. Because we have to remind people that this is on mic. This is not just on mic, but open mic. Stay there because we will be right back with our very special guest, Mike Lopez. Back here on Open Mic with our very special guest, Mike Lopez. I don't care. What do you care for the most?
You asked me the last time I cried, no?
No, I mean the caring first. I mean, what do you care for?
I care about...
what do you care about? What do you care for? What do you care?
Faith, family, friends. 3 Fs. Faith, family, friends.
In that order?
Yes, in that order. Those are the 3 things I care for the most. And then in this life, a sense of legacy. I have a very strong sense of legacy, and it's something that I would wish more people had. You know? Is our family better off after, you know, because we've taken over, you know, because we've gone to work, we've started to work. Is our family better off? Is our community better off? Is our, you know, our young people better off? Is our, you know, when we look
am
back,
I better?
Yes, that at some point when we're old and nigh, you know, when we look back, old and gray, we look back at our lives. Are things better because of us? So it's
write your epitaph. Mike Lopez.
Like Phoebe Buffet, played by Lisa Kudrow. Mike Lopez, buried alive. So that.
That's a nice declamation piece. You know, when I was a kid, that was my declamation piece. Buried alive.
You declared?
Yeah.
Here, some of the declamation contestants will say, "Mother, oh mother, mother, mother."
Oh, I did that. When was the last time you cried and why?
The last time I cried was Monday of last week.
Because?
And I was talking to one of my best friends because somebody attacked me on social media, and normally it doesn't really get to me. But it was in the context of a death of a friend. And this person who attacked me was not even here. And he said just the worst possible things. And I didn't retaliate on social media. And I'm able to compartmentalize it. So when that guy posted it, I was in the midst of a tribute for this friend. So, mamaya na yan. You know, first things first, we're mourning the death of our friend. After that, when it finally sank, what did I do to this person? I never did anything to this person. And the person who demonized me to him, I didn't even do anything to her. And sometimes it makes you wonder, I was a kind friend to them. I don't know what they think I did to them, but I've always been a kind and loyal and fiercely loyal friend. And I was maligned, no? So it was okay. When it started to sink in, I was talking to this friend.
But did you find out why?
Not yet. Not yet. But when I was talking to my friend, I don't know, my voice cracked. I didn't think I was crying. And then he asked, naghilak ba ka? Mike, naghilak ka? So I was like, apparently so, because I didn't realize.
What rattles you, Mike?
Rats. The only thing that I fear are rats. Because
it's so interesting, you know. You fear rats, I fear snakes.
They're okay. That's why I've taken care of a lot of them.
Yeah,
ang daming ahas sa buhay ko. Because I love
of different colors,
shapes and sizes. No, but really, I had pet snakes. Yeah, I had pet snakes.
Okay, but rats?
I don't know. When we were in Manila, one time I was talking to our kapitbahay. There are like 3 kids, the children of our kapitbahay, our neighbor's driver. Sila Lizel and I would talk to them, no? And then I was doing like this sa pader, and then suddenly they were like oh, pak, and then it ran over me and like over my head. Like a nursery rhyme. Like a nursery rhyme, and then the tail was like that. I was like, oh my God, no. And then I could feel the small paws. So No, I cannot.
You know, at one point in your life, you joined government
Yes.
through the National Youth Commission, and it was not very easy. I remember my conversation with you on private conversation, and
You badgered me, boy. You badgered me like,
but
you know.
let me tell you something. You've never been afraid to expose yourself.
No.
You've never been afraid to expose yourself with the things that you believe in. And it, I don't know if my recollection is correct, it cost you your job, and it was not easy. It was not easy. And having gone through that, would you join government again?
At this point, I'm not in that frame of mind, but, you know, leadership, they call it a call of leadership. When you're called to serve, you have to respond.
What to you is calling? What do you consider would be a sign of, you know, calling?
When you don't lift a finger and then you're asked,
And it's just there.
and you're asked to come in and help, no? Because then it's God, it's the universe telling you,
Conniving.
yeah, telling you, you know, you're needed here. But we cannot all be messianic and say that, hey, we're the only ones who can exact, or, you know, who can actually effect change. No. But you mentioned that interview and private conversations. That interview cost me my job. They transcribed it, and what do you call this? The poetic justice is they asked the MTRCB, you know, to demand a copy from
Which
ABS-CBN.
you eventually joined.
Yes,
later.
which I eventually joined. But Chairman LaGuardia at the time helped my ex-colleagues get a transcript from
our
ABS-CBN.
conversation,
Yes, and then, but what's interesting there is 8 months after I had left government, I left government on September 9, 2008. 8 months after, on May 5th, 2009, President Arroyo called me to the palace to apologize. And this was the president of my country, at the height of her power, in a one-on-one conversation, telling me that she had called me in because she felt an injustice was done to me. So I was 25 years old. I was jobless. I was not a congressman with an impeachment vote to trade, or a billionaire with, you know, millions to donate to her campaign kitty. Nothing. I was actually bumming around. And the night before, I had just broken up with my ex. So
Didn't she offer you a job?
not immediately, and I didn't also ask. No? And then maybe
No, but an injustice had been done to you.
no,
So it had to be corrected.
Before she called me to that one-on-one, I was contacted for a job which was higher than in that same agency.
Organization, yes.
Yeah, and I said, what I exposed an injustice, and I asked for everyone to be replaced. If I get promoted, then it would have been self-serving, no? So thanks, but no thanks. You know, the offer is vindication enough.
Politics. Your thoughts?
To run for office?
Run for office, dabble in anything that's peripheral to politics.
Tingog Carlinian, 15 years, you know, devoted to Tingog. I ran one time, I had an accident, I couldn't campaign. After that, I found my place behind the scenes. People don't think I'm behind the scenes because they think I'm always, you know, at the foreground of things. But no, I actually work better behind the scenes. Politics, maybe if I'm popular enough that I don't have to buy votes. Like
Okay.
Duterte effect, you know, that you don't have to buy votes.
Because phenomenon.
Yeah, something like that. Because, or maybe just half of it. Because if you buy votes for me, then you've compromised already, and you are, well, I don't know. You cannot have the moral ascendancy to be, you know, enforcing the law, or to be saying, you know, to be setting a good example, because you're already compromised. You're I don't know, damaged goods. That's my opinion. I will not judge other people. You know what I learned in government, boy? Idealism is something best demanded from yourself, and yourself
That's
alone.
true.
When I started, I was so idealistic. And when you're so idealistic, you end up being judgmental. Ay, ba't siya ganon, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. You judge everyone. And you feel so perfect and faultless and spotless. But my experience in government made me realize that the best, you know, the best form of idealism is one that you just demand it from yourself. Just do your best in your own sphere of influence, that's it. Stop, you know, just mind your own business and do your best in your own sphere.
What is the one dream, given the chance to fulfill that dream today in your life? What is that one dream?
Oh my gosh. In this life,
Today, as we talk. Mike, you've been a very good son of mine. You know, this is God talking. I don't know, it sounds. I will grant you one dream. One wish. What is it?
Love life.
No. Aside from love life. No. Love life. You serious?
No, it's been so long.
Is it so long?
5 years.
5 years?
No, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm happy being single.
No,
But
you're not.
am I fake?
No, you would be better, yeah. Love life.
Yeah.
But that's a nice wish.
Yeah.
But that's
Someone-
love life.
Someone, because
Someone go? Someone.
someone. No. I'm losing it. No.
Someone.
No, because I've tried the all-consuming kind of love. No? So I call it chuck and blame.
You know you're crazy when you're in love.
Oh yes. Yeah.
You know that.
But no, I don't want the all-consuming.
I am na.
I want the one.
Most important lesson in love. Most important lesson in love. So far.
Oh gosh. Love is a decision. It's a decision.
It is.
Yeah, and you have to be able to make the decision to stay. When you decide to stay, you have to know when to stay, and you have
That's
to.
tough.
Yes, and you have to know when to walk away.
Parang stardom. I was once asked about stars. Sabi ko, one defining trait of a star is a star knows when to enter and when to exit.
Yes,
They shouldn't linger.
It's probably the same with love.
Di ba? May commonality. May commonality.
You actually taught me that.
I am not very sure about you being a good student in the language of love.
But there was one thing that you taught me. I remember very well.
Which was?
And it was a lesson I learned in July. I remember the date, July 18.
This guy remembers dates.
Yeah, July 18, 2007. And that was a deadline I set, my previous relationship. And then of course, we were not ready.
Yeah.
And then we had to part ways because
Right.
deadline eh. And I talked to you when I reached Manila. It was dramatic, we were in the cab. I was on my way to the plane. He had to go down, and we were holding each other and was crying and had to let go. And she wouldn't look. And the taxi driver was like, "What's his problem?" I was crying. And then I was, leaving on a jet plane. But I was flying back the same day. The following day naman. But
And I said,
and then I called you, and he's like, "Oh boy," and he said, "Congratulations, will I treat you to Shangri-La?" To buffet, you and whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And then, because he's not ready. And then you say, and then I said, "It's okay, Mike," and you were giving me your pep
Yeah.
talk, and I said, "But do you think it was wrong to have given it a deadline? To have, set
Yeah,
a date?"
right.
And then you say, "Mike, I'm glad you asked because you never give love a deadline."
I told you that.
Yeah. And then you said, "Ang konstitusyon nga na amyendahan kahit mahirap."
Sometimes, I had that feeling, I remember that conversation, and I said, why is Mike punishing himself? And sometimes, when you impose something on something as great as love, di ba? Parang it doesn't make sense.
Recently, you told me that. You really love to do that to yourself.
Yeah, I told you that.
You told me just a few weeks ago, and I told Tita Gwen Garcia, Congresswoman Gwen Garcia, we were in the car, I think going to Pinamungahan, her district. And he said, Boy sends his regards, because diba you called the day before. And then he tells me, why do I punish myself when it comes to love? And then I say, and then I was thinking about what you said. And then I realized, because love, now in this current mindset that the world has, embraced in this day of Tinder, of Facebook, and, instant pictures.
Snapchat.
And data, whatever. It's frowned upon to actually invest in something. It's frowned upon. Parang, why are you doing that? You're investing so much emotionally.
You're losing yourself.
And what if it doesn't amount to anything in the end? So what? Wala. But need I remind people, that's what courtship is all about.
Right.
And in the years gone by, that's how people express their love. Even when there was no certainty. Even if at the end of the day, you're said, wala tayo, busted ka, or no, I'm sorry, I'm not ready, or whatever. That's what courtship was. And sorry, makaluma ako. I'm really an old soul.
And it's fun. The art of flirting.
Oh.
Wonderful. Beautiful. It's wonderful.
I would get into trouble because of that.
Di ba?
Yeah.
Just very quickly, what are your hopes for this country?
Well, I hope that we're able to actually have a lasting and meaningful change. The most that our candidates could promise is our band-aid solutions. Duterte, I hope he is able to really live up to his promise. And I think he has the ingredients. I've said it here, political capital and political will. So I really hope that the 6 years we have, and I hope he lasts, the entire 6 years, that people are able to realize his promises. Because if he does, then it'll be a better Philippines 6 years henceforth.
And as I always say, we have to do our part. Mike, two choices. If you go to hell, who would you bring with you? And if you go to heaven, sino naman ang iyong isasama? The answer when we come back. Dito lamang po sa Open Mic. We will be right back. We're back here on Open Mic with Mike Lopez. I love the title of your show, Open Mic.
Credits to Iris Clamor, who suggested it.
Galing? Because when you say open mic in our industry, you know what it is, no auditions. And, in the United States, the very first time, many years ago, when I was told there was an open mic, I just wanted to go, the learner again. No? But I was so afraid to ask because I was in an environment where I had no friends. So I went to the place, oh God, ganito pala yun. Aren't you afraid to audition?
To audition?
To audition. I mean, for anything.
I've tried.
You did?
Yeah. For in high school, in elementary, for a stage
as an actor,
play,
as a singer,
stage play.
You sing? Yeah.
I love to sing, but sing. There was a time in my younger years before adolescence broke my diaphragm or my vocal cords. Yeah,
But you have a favorite song?
A lot, yeah, a lot.
Not talaga. The first song that comes to mind now is?
When I was changing, I was singing this song from Christopher Cross.
Which is?
I Will Take You Forever.
I Will Take You Forever.
Yeah.
That's a lovely song.
Yes.
Okay, right. And why that song?
It brings me back to a particular time, not in the not too distant past, and it reminds me of someone. So when I was changing, it was on loop on my Spotify.
Wow.
I love that song.
I actually like that song.
Yeah.
Also, I actually like the song. Okay, hell, heaven, who do you bring with you?
To hell, sorry boy, but Noynoy Aquino.
Okay, why?
Just so I'm sure he's there.
If you go to heaven, who would you bring with you?
PGMA.
Why?
Because she has suffered long enough. She had purgatory here on earth, and I want to be sure that she gets her paradise.
Okay, the one thing that President Noy has done, which is good, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh. To be friends with you. No, officially. I think to have brought the case to The Hague.
Because it took a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have gone both ways. No?
But I have to be very clear. He didn't have to bring it to The Hague. He was also kind of responsible for the mess that it was before he brought it to The Hague. So I have a friend who posted something like, "Will you say thank you to the guy who brought you to the hospital because he ran you over?" Mm-hmm. Because he brought you to the hospital. Mm-hmm. That's how he would liken the case. But whatever the situation,
it's a whole debate there.
Whatever. No? The point is, he brought it to The Hague. It is the proper forum, perhaps. I have friends, in the Politburo in the Communist Party of China, but we agree to disagree on the claim. So I think, that would have to be one.
Okay.
Another thing.
Can
I just have?
Yeah.
He didn't really introduce new economic policies. I think he did well by adopting President Arroyo's economic policies.
I want to comment on that also because I was reading, a discourse was very important, written by Karl Rove. Presidents really benefit from their predecessors.
Yes.
Because it's not just about continuity and what can possibly be done, but when you're talking about a 6-year term, you really have...
Not enough.
And you really have to continue the good programs. Otherwise, when you start a new programs, you have 6 years to do it.
Yeah.
The one bad thing that Gloria Macapagal Arroyo did.
I think when in my opinion, when I'm so sorry, but President Estrada is a a nice fellow, but I don't like that she pardoned him. For me, yeah, that's my opinion. Because, or maybe the condition of the pardon, it should have been
that he wouldn't be allowed to run.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Okay. And a lot of people would
or
say,
calling Garci. Calling Garci.
saying hello.
Saying hello to Garci at the height of election. But it was not to cheat, no? She was just asking for that. No? But yes, it was an impropriety, but she apologized for it. So, for calling. She didn't apologize for cheating, she apologized for calling.
For saying hello.
Yes.
Diba? President Duterte is on his, what, less than...
like a month.
A month
and a half, yeah.
A month and a half. If you were to organize a dinner, with former presidents, how would you make the arrangement? Who would, no, I mean, dinner for 5. And I'm talking about President Ramos, Erap, Gloria Macapagal, President Aquino, and then President Duterte. There was a show before on television called Dinner for 5. How would the arrangement be? And you would be there hosting it. Who would be sitting beside who and why?
It's tempting because I can be very naughty. And I can also be a stickler for protocol.
Okay.
So those are my contradictions also.
And we're comfortable with our contradictions.
So there's a part of me that wants to just follow protocol, maybe as in accordance to their
terms.
Yes. Okay. In the order FVR, ERAP, GMA, Noy. Okay. But even if I follow that, it would also address my plan, my naughty self's plan, which is to sit Noy and GMA beside each other, just because I know it would be very awkward for them.
But you would be surprised, because as laymen, we would say, how are they going to behave beside each other? But presidents, and I'm not just talking about people in this country, I'm talking about international figures, when they can actually sit beside each other.
Despite.
We're
able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the exes and.
Yeah, right. And for example, I was watching Obama and George W. Bush together.
Especially in the States.
Especially in the States, no? It's amazing how they can actually.
Yeah, old boys club or something.
Yeah, I mean how they can actually be detached from who they are, or detached from their political ideologies, and just perform protocol. Because in the sauna. I mean, I don't know if this should be airing after. People were hoping that they would see the former presidents together and how the dynamics would be.
But, well, of course, you can cut this. But I heard Pinoy will not be attending.
I read it in the papers, and he said that he would be more covered. He would like to listen intently to the speech at home. And former President Gloria would have the option actually to sit in the...
As a congresswoman.
As a former president. Or in the place reserved for... presidents, reserved for presidents. For the show, open mic, what are your plans? What's next?
I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow and see, where it takes us. If it'll last years, then so be it. But I'm always open to possibilities, to anything, that comes. If I'm, for example, required to leave Cebu, then I will have to give it up. If there's a job, or a compelling reason to leave Cebu, either for life or love or whatever.
I love it. And for life.
We always have to insert that.
That's right. You are open. And I think that's the best thing about us, about people, the openness to listen, the openness and the power to listen to what the universe says. Yes. If it demands for one to be in a certain place because of life and love, then so be it.
Like, what's that movie? One of my favorites, Meet Joe Black. Yes, keep open, stay open. Who knows? Lightning may strike.
Right. Yeah. So just be ready.
And if it strikes, then you're electrified to your core.
Of course. And electrification is nice.
Yes. And I'm into energy consulting, by the way.
If you were an animal, what are you?
Oh my gosh, I'd be a hawk.
If you were a flower,
ask me why I want to be a hawk.
Hawk.
Because a hawk has, perfect eyesight, and it's a bird of prey, and it preys on other birds.
Okay, let me follow that up. If you were to prey on a bird, on another bird, who would that be?
It has to be a big bird.
Yes. It has to be a big
Just
bird.
kidding, just kidding.
Of course,
No.
an eagle, you
Yeah.
know, a big bird.
But a hawk is smaller than an eagle.
No, but you know, a hawk can actually pick on an eagle.
Yeah, but as a hawk, I don't think I would like to prey on the Mayas. Not my thing.
Why? Not your thing.
Not my thing.
Kung ikaw isang ulam, Mike, what are you? And why?
Medyo maanghang na ulam.
Katulad?
I think, oh my God. Kalderetang kambing na medyo spicy. That's our specialty.
Kalderetang kambing na spicy. Look around in the studio. If you were to choose one, who would eat you?
Oh my God. No.
Listen, guys, I'm talking about kalderetang kambing, you know? If you were to choose one in the studio, who would eat Mike Lopez, who would that be and why?
But you know, our kaldereta. It's so masarap. It has a...
Oh, Mike, I go back to the question. I mean, choose someone who would eat you.
No, it has Mallorca. It
Yes,
has
nice.
olives.
Right, okay, so choose someone who would eat you.
Ayoko nga! I invoke my right of privacy.
I invoke by being the host of the show.
Balik pa tayo! I already offered to someone na... No, actually, literally caldereta. Yeah, sabi ko, you have to try our caldereta, our family's caldereta. So, I'm being...
You know, you're very young. If you were to write a book right now, and I asked you about writing an epitaph, and that was pretty smart. Give your life, if your life were to be written into a book, give it a title.
Okay, Adventures from the Neither World.
Adventures of the Neither World,
From
because...
neither.
Yes.
I'm neither straight nor gay nor... I'm neither.
Okay,
It's,
how
it's
will
neither.
you begin? How
Not
will you...
nether, but it's neither.
Okay, how will you begin the narrative? How does that book start? How does that book start? What is the middle? And how will you end it today?
Oh my God. What is the start? It must be a throwback, you know, a tribute. It starts with a tribute to my family's past. I'm big on family trees and genealogy. It has to start
And then you're
somewhere.
very attached to family.
Yes, but it like generations back.
Okay.
Like that's why I had a connection to Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, because there is a mention of Andalusia.
And you will love 100 Years of Solitude.
I have it on my shelf. I'm just waiting.
You go through that. Okay.
So there's a mention of Andalusia, and it's a very mystical place in the south of Spain, and that's where our family is from. So
wow.
Yeah, in a town called Ilora, and like 80 to 90% of the inhabitants are our Lopez cousins. So I want something like that. It starts there.
Okay.
So the attributes of the present day me are influenced, you know, by the mistakes, by the adventures and misadventures of those who have gone before me. So it must start with that. In the middle is probably life now, but I write it like I will write it not as an autobiography, but more like The Little Prince, The Alchemist.
Okay,
fantastical.
Right. Okay, and how would you end it?
Oh, it won't end.
No, I mean, so far, because we have to sell the book,
Yeah.
remember. You have to end it
No, but
somehow.
I'm thinking of a franchise.
No. I'm thinking about marketing the book now, so we have to end it.
Sorry,
How-
but yeah, ako kasi, sorry, because I thought
you have to
I will
end
not
it.
end it.
No, end it with this conversation.
Yeah. Because it has to be a franchise. I want to get rich like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you ended with this conversation so that you can go into a franchise. Diba? Open Mike's first anniversary.
I wanted to have 7 books.
Yeah, 7 or 8.
And you will be my Dumbledore.
Ako naman gladly. Gladly. Okay.
And si Sir Bobbit siguro, he'll be my Professor Snape.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd want it to be like that. It should be fantastical. It has to be fantasy, like a storybook. And dapat ganun yung feel.
In one word, describe your life now.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
Yeah, even I am outraged by it. Parang it cannot be what do you call it, enclosed, and maybe to some extent for some people it's scandalous. So but I try to
Cebu. What do you want to say about it? You're proudly Cebuano.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
I will fight tooth and nail for Cebu and its reputation. And it's really the queen city of the South. Whatever Iloilo says, I'm so sorry. Because the point is, it is not who wore the crown, it's who wears the crown. We are the reigning queen city of the South. Sila naman queen, ano yun? They were the, kudos to Iloilo. I love Iloilo, I love the food there. But, you know, they were the queen's city, meaning the queen owned them. No one owns Cebu, but the Cebuanos. So, we are the queen city of the South.
How do you pray?
I have a formula, actually. I have a formula that I follow, aside from the Catholic formulas, but I have a formula so that I don't miss out on people.
And that formula is?
Of course, you know, the usual, you praise. No? Then I lift up my family and two other people.
Okay, all right. Two other people, both of them can possibly eat you as caldereta?
No, just one. No, the other one is my sister's boyfriend. Of course, he has to be part of the family.
All right.
And then I lift up the poor souls in purgatory, and then I enumerate every side. My de Belen, Acevedo, Pangan, Duterte, Del Mar, Lopez, all of them. My ascendants, as far as I could remember, to pray for their souls. Because I believe, I really believe you have to pray for the souls of our, you know, dearly departed. And at the same time, I believe that they also look, you know, look down from heaven and look after us. And then at the fourth is I lift up the church and everyone, the leaders and members of the church, and the Pope, his health, his safety, his mission, his vision.
You stay a long time in church, huh?
I'm always actually, I don't want to talk about it, no, but
You're very thorough in your prayer.
I have to. Otherwise, I feel that it's not complete, the Mass. I say it after the Mass, no? And then the last is, of course, the invocation to the saints. You know, expand. And then there's a prayer of Jabez, expand and enlarge my territory without hurting anybody. It's an important, I think, prayer for
without hurting.
Yes. Expand. It's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to dream big. Some people get offended by enthusiasm and accomplishment and achievement. That's their problem. You know, dear Lord, expand and enlarge my territory without hurting anybody. That's just my rule.
And that's a very good prayer.
Just do your best. Don't hurt other people. When on your way to the top, don't hurt other people. Don't step on other people's toes. That's it.
Or on your way every day to wherever you go, just don't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
You celebrate your first anniversary of Open Mic. Congratulations.
Thank you, boy.
Congratulations.
Thank you for the guidance and mentorship and the experience in Bottom Line.
You're welcome. And fly. Just fly. Just keep on flying.
Thank you.
Just keep on flying. Just spread your wings and wow, just keep on opening that heart because you have such a big heart. Is that lights on or lights off?
Lights dimmed.
Last question.
Oh my gosh.
I am Mike Lopez and
the best is yet to come.
I believe you. And I will be praying for that. Maraming salamat, Mike.
Thank
at sa
you,
lahat
boy.
po ng nanonood at sumusuporta sa Open Mic, maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
boy.
the best.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you very much. And we will see you again, next week?
Yes.
With another guest that you will book. Okay?
So I will go back to the chair.
Yes, you will be back on this chair. But again, mula sa aking puso, maraming salamat sa pagkakataong ito. Thank you. This is an honor. I'm glad to have done this for a friend and for your network, to Mr. Avila, to you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So wherever you go today, tomorrow, and the next days to come, you can do whatever you want for as long as you don't hurt anyone. That's Open Mic. Good night. God bless.